I'm used to Oscar politicking, and it's really, really a wind-up, but Carey Mulligan has really taken the all-time worst Oscar politicking I've ever heard, and the whole world owes Dennis Harvey, the critic, an enormous apology. So basically what happened, Dennis Harvey wrote a review of apparently a really good film, Promising Young Woman, when it debuted at festivals in January a year ago. Carey Mulligan has come out, and she's an actress that I've been up and down with, but I mean, I didn't initially like her in Drive, but it is a wonderful role for her in that film, and that ended up being my film of the decade. I loved her in that role in the end. She's now Oscar, one of the frontrunners for Best Female Actress, and her film Promising Young Woman got a much wider release just before Christmas, and she has now come out and said that this reviewer wrote in his, was it a Variety? Yeah, in Variety, that Dennis Harvey had questioned her hotness and basically said that Margot Robbie should have played this role because she's hotter than Carey Mulligan. Carey Mulligan's gone running to the press saying about how, you know, she shouldn't, what did she say? I took issue with it, she said. I felt like he was basically saying I wasn't hot enough to pull off this kind of ruse. Variety has sincerely apologised to Carey Mulligan and regret the insensitive language that minimalised her daring performance. And she said, it drove me crazy. I was like, really? For the film you're going to write something so transparent in 2020? I just couldn't believe it, she said. So this guy has got absolutely crucified by everyone. Now, if a story like this comes out in January, or if it comes out between Christmas and February, it's because people are positioning themselves politically to be nominated and win Oscars. The people that vote for Oscars are deciding who they're going to put in, so people run up the flagpole, and they even run counter stories against people. James Franco won the Best Actor at the Golden Globes for an incredible performance in The Disaster Artist at the start of January. Some women came forward and accused him of actually contractual stuff that they now think many years later wasn't right. And he never even got a nomination for Best Actor, and the film was swallowed. The Disaster Artist was a magnificent performance, magnificent film. Every year these people come out with these stories, and Carey Mulligan has come out with this story. No one's questioned her about it. Everyone's piled in onto this journalist, this critic, and taken her side and said, you know, she's so brave standing up and all of this absolute crap. That's not what happened. Now, this is the quote that Carey Mulligan has now, a year later, during Oscar season, suddenly it's become this huge story. Mulligan, a fine actress, seems a bit of an odd choice as this admittedly many-layered apparent femme fatale. Margot Robbie is a producer here, and one can perhaps too easily imagine the role might once have been intended for her, whereas with this star, Cassie wears her pick-up bait gear like bad drag. Even her long blonde hair seems a put-on, the review read. That is it. That's the paragraph that Carey Mulligan has trashed this guy globally. And the title to this article is Carey Mulligan starred in a movie about rape, culture and consent. A male journalist said she wasn't hot enough. Nothing in that paragraph mentions whether Margot Robbie or Carey Mulligan are hot at all. He has now come forward and shot her down with two very important points. He said that he was surprised that Margot Robbie wasn't in the film as a producer, because if you look at the trailers for it, she's visually very, very similar to Harlequin, the character that Margot Robbie is famous for. So he was surprised that, given Margot Robbie has already played Harlequin in a visually and thematically possibly similar role, that she herself may have intended taking that role. And he also said that Carey Mulligan's own performance in the film, though good, wasn't very natural. Doesn't mention her being hot, and he has been trashed for it. The second very important point is he said, I am a 60-year-old gay man. I don't go around judging actresses on whether they're hot. She owes him a massive apology for this. The only reason this story on a year-old review has come out now is to position herself in the minds of the people voting to nominate for Best Actress, which she would have got anyway. Instead, she and the media have piled on to get this guy thousands and thousands of hate mail, emails and Twitter attacks, and had his career possibly ruined, and has a disclaimer over his article when that was never what he mentioned. It isn't in what he said. It's just inferred by Carey Mulligan and everyone. Because of the subject matter, a woman accusing a guy of doing something like this is sacrosanct. Even though no one has bothered to look underneath the hood, he has come forward with an expanded version of what he said, why he said it. The fact that the character looks like the character from Harlequin that Margot Robbie already played. She was probably meant for that role. She'd already become world famous for how good she was in that role. He was surprised that she didn't do it, and he didn't think that Carey Mulligan wore that Dayglow outfit kind of persona as well as Margot Robbie would have. Nothing about you being hot or not being hot, Carey. You've just trashed someone's reputation, and everyone else has piled onto him, so you owe him a massive apology. And that is one of the worst pieces of Oscar bait politicking I have ever seen.